since 2018, done a little bit of everything: individual, partnership, grew a small team. Now, obviously, we have a pretty big team, and I like doing. So I'm on the ALC. Part of my ALC is growth committee. My focus on growth is helping other agents grow, whether that be direct unit count or in their knowledge of what they want to focus on in real estate. Luis actually was a part of our team for a while before he went out on his own. And it's always been a passion of mine, is just kind of helping people grow in whatever it is that they want. Right now, I think it's a crucial time for us as well, because this market is changing left and right. And I think that it's always a bad thing to say, but one of my favorite things to see looking at it is the potential shift, because that's when you have the biggest opportunity to take market share. So I think the timing of this mastermind and our top 20% that we're having later in the month is really happening at a perfect time of the year, because we're moving into spring, or excuse me, we're in spring, moving into summer, and we have a great opportunity to start gaining some market share. And I just wanted to kind of mastermind. So it's not me leading a class. I want to have a conversation about things that you're seeing, struggles that you're having, and how to kind of overcome them. Obviously, we don't have to talk about the obvious one of we write offers and we're not winning. Right. That's a pretty much given. We can talk about strategies around that. That's a-okay. But that's a pretty obvious thing that we all know that we're having a hard time with. I just happened to see a post of Kelsey Waters. She said that they've written like 20 offers over 2 months for these clients, and they just got them under contracts. Like, it's still happening. One thing that I am seeing around that, though, is that people are overpricing their listings when they're coming on the market. So it's not happening for them, right? They're not getting the multiple offers, but so it's all kind of their, ebb and flow of what's happening right now. So what are some things that you guys kind of want to dive into, talk about today? See if everybody else is having the same issue, or see if anybody has figured out a way to get around it, or anything like that. Sean? Hey, how do you spell your last name?
Mine?
Yes, Scarborough.
I know that.
I know how to say it.
SCARBOROUGH.
Nice.
Cool. All right, give me some ideas, guys. Do what?
As a class to know.
Yeah, I mean, like, I was trying to write it on the sign-in sheet, and I didn't know how to say it or spell it. Yeah, some ideas. So obviously we talk about the multiple offers for the same people. I know a common one that people are talking about a lot is how are we winning those offers? So it's something that I think we can start out with when we're seeing this market kind of changing. What are some tactics, or this extremely difficult market for a buyer right now? Every market's difficult. It's just what stage of the real estate it's difficult in. But what's something that you guys are seeing that you're being successful with on winning an offer for a client that's maybe not necessarily the best offer? What are you guys doing to be successful for people?
I'm not even that far yet.
Okay.
I'm brand new. I'm still trying to find, people leads.
How are you doing that?
So far I've sent out letters and on calls, my sphere.
Yeah. And my
I'm
sphere.
not too keen on door knocking.
I don't know. This time of year, it's a great exercise plan, but that's not, that's kind of how I feel about it too.
Skeptical of it.
I get it. I like door knocking. I've done it quite a bit in the past. I usually door knock with a purpose, right? So I'm not door knocking just going, oh, hey, you guys thought about selling. I've had some success in the past. I mean, obviously, like, you have an open house, you door knock the open house, right? That's pretty simple. You invite the neighbors to it. But I have taken an 8x11 sheet of paper, and it says buyer needs. And whether you have the buyer need for it, or that KW has the buyer need for it, it doesn't matter. You write John and Sarah moving to want to live in Battlefield, 3-bed, 2-bath, they're pre-approved up to 300,000, right? And I was handing those out. And the amount of, not necessarily direct leads that I got from that, but oh yeah, my friend so-and-so had talked about maybe selling because the market's really good and they know they can make some money. They're not exactly what this person's looking for, but maybe it would be worth a conversation, right? That's been successful for me for door knocking. At the same time, you made it.
Just for a little while.
No worries. That was successful with me door knocking. Otherwise, I didn't love it. It wasn't my thing. There's plenty of people that really do like it. There's an agent that used to be here, Kevin Wages. He's over at another brokerage now. That boy killed it on door knocking. And he door knocked 2 neighborhoods. He door knocked a bunch of others, but he door knocked 2 neighborhoods. These people knew him. They would see his car in the street and they would know who it was, but they didn't care. Super nice, brought value, let them know what the market's doing, let them know what their neighbor's house sold for, let them know this, let them know that, let them know about stupid events going on in the area. He was successful with it. Him and I talked plenty.
You were talking.
And I just said, I didn't love it, right? It wasn't my favorite. I loved open houses, right? People came to me. Right now they're a little different. You have a lot of people coming to you that are with their agent or something of that nature. So it's a little bit different, but there's still good leads there. We just pulled a buy sell out of an open house last weekend. Not Mother's Day, the weekend before. They walked through the open house. There was 50 people through it. They were the only one that didn't have an agent with them or already signed by an agent, but they're a buyer and seller. Right. So they're still really successful. You're just filtering through the people.
I haven't done my own open house yet. I've shadowed a couple. And kind of shadowed one showing.
Gotcha. Shadowing, I did 3 or 4 shadows on open houses, and then I started doing my own when I first started out. And that was, I'd say my first year, I think I had 8 closings from open houses that came from the Grady's team alone. Like I just got on there. I was on their like early list of like knowing when the open houses were available. And that's all I did. I did open house Saturday, open house Sunday. Super. I loved it because you sit around in air conditioned house usually, heated house if it's in the winter, right? You're not outdoor knocking like you said, and people just came right to you. Where you guys found your success when you were first starting out? Besides Sphere, because that's the easiest one. That's the easiest answer.
Yeah, Sphere, I had a really big Sphere to pull from, so I was very lucky. But also, it was open houses. I just did open houses. I never shadowed anybody with open houses. I went to other people's open houses.
Yeah.
That's how I shadowed is I just went to, because not just people in our market center, like I went to open houses when I wasn't doing one and I just watched how they did their open house. And sometimes they would, I would think that, I was like, that's great. I love what they're doing. I love their style. Yeah. And I would just take little pieces of all these different people and I would just make it my own.
I loved the shadowing. I forgot I did that. You can cover 3 or 4 open houses in 1 2-hour block compared to if you're just shadowing me at an open house, you only got my open house. Yeah. And my style might suck for what you like to do.
Right. Mine's very different now too because of that. I do things differently and I actually don't like doing my own open houses. I would rather give away my open houses because I'm going to talk shit on the houses. I want to be able to do that. If it's your listing and I go through it and I'm standing in the vestibule and there's tile here, there's laminate over here, and then there's hardwood over here, that's going to drive me nuts. But other people are going to walk in, they're not going to notice that. And then I always find something in the house to say, hey, when you get back, let me know what you think of the master bathroom, the master shower. Let me know what you think about that. And then they're like, oh, but now they have to come back to me and I don't have to chase them through the house, make them feel uncomfortable. Now they're going to come to me and say, I'm like, what do you think? Is it weird? It's weird, right? Because there's a window that's not glazed over or something that's just like right there. It's like, I hope your neighbors are voyeurs. You can say something funny and engaging and make it that way. It just changes, the way I operated when I was
Perspective on them too.
Yeah, it does. But it makes them come back to me, Yeah, and a lot of things I am pretty big on making them sign in. And then if they haven't signed in, by the time I have that second conversation with them where they're usually coming back to me, that's when we can open the door and have that conversation about whether or not they have an agent. And if they don't, I give them my card, but I always also say, let me have your email. And then I need their name for the email, and then I can look them up on truepeoplesearch.com and I can still find them.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I almost have everybody sign in. It really became very, very easy during COVID times, right? Yeah. That was super simple. I like having people sign in. I've also done it before and we stopped doing it. for a little while, but I wouldn't bring in like detail sheets or information on the house, and I would send out a link for it. It was really easy to get contact info that way. But it was also, some people were like, I'm good, right? I'll just take a piece of paper, and I ain't got any. And they're like, all right, never mind then. So it's kind of like half and half there. But if I was redoing it, I always still have that link, and it's a link directly to our website. And I straight up tell them anyways, because they have to fill out a form to then look at the photos. Say, listen, I already have your phone number and I have your name. Like, you're going into this database either way. So if you don't fill it out, like, I'm still going to reach out to you. Or if you fill it out, at least then you can go look at houses on my website without being bothered anymore, right? Or my website you can trust and go to next week to look at a house, rather than going to Elise's and then going to Sean's and then going to somebody else's. Now you have 55 emails coming in about houses. And they really liked that and respected that. It worked out really, really well for me. It definitely was, you had to have the right crowd. I didn't necessarily like doing that on some of the higher priced, like luxury listings that people want to feel like you're being catered to. I didn't want to just like pimp out a link. They didn't seem to love that as much. But yeah, I mean, it was everything was a little bit of a learning experience, and I'll still pop by randomly to open houses that I see, and I don't care who the agent is. And if nothing
Still
else,
hand out your card, you still try to, with
Nope.
somebody else's.
yeah, I just walk in.
You just-
I told the other agent, like, hey man, I'm an agent, just want to look at it, see what's on the market, and then not to mention, see what you're doing, right? Get to meet you. I'll be honest with you, I don't have cards. I don't have business cards that I carry, so like to say that, like I don't hand them out, it's not possible for me anyways. I don't.
But that's not okay.
I wouldn't
right?
recommend. Yeah. Don't hand out your
Trying to
stuff.
find
Yeah.
out, figure.
No.
That.
But at the same time, like my
You go to
direct.
open house and you're starting to hand out business cards
Oh,
to
yeah.
your business.
I've had that
like,
happen.
really.
Kind of.
Yeah, I've had it happen too.
Oh yeah, I've had it
Yeah,
happen pretty well.
I had Patrick Marnie's agent
Mhm.
take a client from an open house
Yep.
right in front of me.
And I mean, and there's plenty of them. My favorite part of it too is when I do it, and you started to point on it. When you're doing an open house, I go, so let's say it's Sunday 2 to 4, Sunday at 1 o'clock or 1:30, I get to the house, 1:45, whatever. The first thing that I do, if I haven't already done it, I usually wait till like right before. I go pull everything else in the same elementary school district, right? A pretty close general area, right? So the people are okay with this open house you're doing in Southern Hills, like at least it's really, really close. So you might be able to convince them to go outside of Southern Hills if the right house is there. And I always go, all right, this one the one that I'm hosting is 4 bedrooms. So I'm gonna look at between 3 and 5 bedrooms, right? To where I have very, very similar homes, right? And I might go 100,000 below and 100,000 over on price point. And then now I say, you know what? I know this really good house, half mile from here, 123 Main Street. It's vacant. I can go show it to you as soon as the open house is over. Like, oh, let me look at it. And the first thing I'm gonna do is then send them that. So if they don't want to sign in, like they now want this information that you have. So I just send it to them, right? Email it to them or whatever it may be. They love it, right? Because they're going to another open house and most people don't do that.
That's on your own open house. so.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And I have the majority of the clients that I have won at an open house was not because of the house that I showed them. It was because another house when they told me this open house isn't for me, this one's not for me. And I said, great, that's fine. Are these 3, right? And then I've done showings and contracts after an open house, never on the house that I've showed, but I've done it on other ones that I meet you at an open house, then we go at 4:05 to go look at one. And it's something that they don't see a lot. Most agents don't do that kind of thing. And it's not hard. It's not like I'm doing anything like crazy special. It's literally like I create a search and save it on my phone and I just forward it out. Yeah.
So
You don't have to raise your hand, guys. Just yeah, like I'm Sean.
Teacher Josh.
Sean, you did. Yeah.
I need to raise my hand.
Both.
But
guys okay? Sorry, go ahead.
With that tactic right now in this market with so many agents saying, we're going to review offers Sunday at 5, you would want to make sure you're doing your open houses on Saturday so that you have the opportunity to show those homes. You don't want to say, hey, I've got these 3 homes, and then you look and say, oh, just kidding, they're not available because they were reviewing offers so soon after your Sunday open house. So you'd want to do a Saturday.
I call before I do my open house and say, hey, I'm doing an open house just down the street. If I find somebody that's interested,
Can I
go
show it
show
at
this
this
at
time?
4:10,
Yeah, that's
right?
good.
And they're like, yeah, I'm doing an open house too. So I'll just tell let me know if you find somebody, and then I'll tell my clients not to come over. And I've worked deals with other agents from other brokerages and said, listen, man, I know you're a half mile from me. These houses are similar. You send me somebody and they buy this house and they work with me, I'll do a referral for you and vice versa. And it's worked out. Paulina and I don't know that she ever knew it. We literally were talking to the same person for like a month. And we saw them at like 3 different open houses. And this person, we just happened to be following each other around at open houses. It was really weird. But this person just kept coming in like, oh yeah, I just saw Paulina down the street at this one. And they would tell, yeah, I just saw Josh down here at this one. I was like, this is kind of strange, but and it's these people, they're a lot of them aren't serious. Right? But a lot of them are, and they don't want to necessarily commit to something until they see it. And I'm okay with saying, hey, Elise, I know you happen to be doing an open house down the street. If I get somebody, I'll send them your way. You do the same thing. We'll take care of each other. Right? There's no reason to work against each other. If you can get it done, do it. I mean, it works.
Are you in productivity coaching by chance?
Sorry.
Are you in productivity coaching?
No, I'm on a team. I'm with Robinson and Lyons.
Oh, cool.
Oh, so what my name's Elise. What's your name?
Deanna.
What you should do is like, if there's another agent on your team that's wants to do an open house on Sunday, you guys try to do them within the same school district or within a half a mile of each other, and then have your flyers for your open house and have the flyers for their open house and try to make the home similar and say, well, if this house isn't a fit, my business partner is at 123 Main Street. Here's her flyer. Go over and make sure she sees, take the flyer and you can say, Deanna sent me and said, this might be a better fit for our needs. And then that way you guys it's going to benefit everybody. The house gets sold, you get the deal, maybe they,
To your point too.
and we used to do that on my team.
Oh, and then seeing Elise, what was your Elise Ellis real estate?
Yeah.
What was your, okay, yeah. So seeing the team name and then you hand them a flyer, they see the team name, they walk into the other open house, they see the team name and they see another flyer.
Yeah.
All it is just name recognition, right?
Yeah.
So they're gonna see Robbins Lyons. They're gonna see it 5 times, right? And at that point, you don't necessarily care if they remember your name. They're gonna remember you associated with the team name and they're locked in.
Especially if you guys have a farm. I don't know if you have a subdivision that Lexi and Stacy farm.
Stratford.
Yeah, just the whole of
But that's not really, like a subdivision in
No,
Stratford.
I was just kidding.
But-
I give her a hard time.
I know, right?
Listings all the time out there.
But if you guys do have then you want to get your open houses in that
Mhm.
farm, and now you're building brand recognition within the farm.
I don't know about that. I've just barely been there. I've only been there like a few weeks.
I figure. I don't want to overwhelm you.
I'm just trying to figure out how, to even get my own open houses, even if it's somebody else's, they're trying to give it away.
So
I don't get it in time. I don't get it in time because they snatch
the
it up
internal
so
page
fast.
is a good one. We've been really working on our open houses, making sure, and a lot of people are going this way. Our listings aren't going live till Friday,
Right.
right? No listing till Friday, and we'll put on something that's kind of not necessarily 100% accurate, like, 12-hour notice was showing, just so showings don't start till Saturday. And then my client's not bothered all night Friday night, they can relax. And then Saturday, they're packed to showings. Sunday, they're either showings or open house or both. And then reviewing offers, like Amy said, at 5 o'clock, or we usually do, we do it Monday morning. We do ours at Monday morning at 9, 8, or we do them at 9:15 because we have a morning meeting at 9. And then that's one more time for us to check with our team selfishly, and I'm okay with it, of saying, hey, are you guys sending an offer or not? Great, no big deal, cool. And then we move on. But we do that call with our clients at 9:15 or 10 o'clock, somewhere in there. It gives the agent that's doing an open house time to then go show it afterwards. Or if I'm not hosting my own open house, but Elisa's holding it for me, and she finds a buyer at 3:55, she doesn't have time to get it to me at 5 o'clock. She might, but it's gonna be tight, right?
Well, you have to take a packet with you, a blank packet, or
Everyone.
2 of them.
Mhm. Every open house that I do now, and that I've actually always done it,
I have at least one contract with me.
That's what I mean by packet. You have to,
At least one contract, buyer docs,
Yep.
because if it's the right house in this market, that person's gonna say, can we write the offer right now? I'm gonna tell them, I absolutely can, until somebody else walks in the door. And then you can either hang on for a minute, let me help them out for a minute, or if you come back at 3:45, or if you wanna sit and hang out with me for a little bit or whatever, I hate letting them leave. But at the same time, I'm also not gonna neglect the open house itself. I've only had it happen once, that somebody wanted to write on an open house that I was at. It's usually the conversation and you find out what they're really looking for and you find something nearby that fits them. The open houses, I have sold one open house that I hosted.
I've never sold an open house I've hosted.
The only one I sold was to a guy who wanted an investment property. It was a Grady open house downtown. Didn't sell for like a month. What a crazy market that was, because he bought it for like 110,000. It was a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house within a half mile of campus.
It was on the market for a month.
It was in 2018.
Oh.
Yep. And
Those days.
I did
That's
an
a
open
while
house.
ago.
I did an open house
Hey,
for
now.
the second time. And then that guy came back and he wrote. That was the only one I've ever written. So don't get discouraged about the open house that you're at not leading to the business of that open house, right?
Lead generation.
It's about the leads and taking them somewhere else. It definitely is, yeah. And then, again, you get to door knock that, right? If you want to, you don't have to. You get to cold call that, circle call that area. Hey, guys, I'm doing an open house. Would love to see you guys there. You can see what homes in your area are selling for and the condition that this one's in. It's a great way to potentially generate a listing or what we call a would sell. Hey, they would sell if they got, their house is a little smaller, so they'd be happy if they could get the same price as the one that you're hosting. We have plenty of those from our open houses and just the conversations around them.
You asked about how to get open houses because you missed them. What I would do is I would go on your MLS app, the Flex app. So you go, I'll just tell you what I would do. So I would go to the Flex app. And I've done this. And in the corner of the hamburger that says more, then go to, actually you go to your name and then you go to office listings. And you can see every listing that Keller Williams has. And you just scroll through them. And then I would pick one and I would call the agent and say, hey, I'm so-and-so with such and such team. Or I'm so-and-so. And I was wondering if I could hold this house
You'll
open.
see on there too, on that screen that she's talking about, it'll tell you they've already got an open house scheduled. And it'll say open house 2 to 4 or whatever. So then obviously you're like, oh, not gonna call that one. You can also, you can put it on the internal page like, hey guys, I want to host open houses. That's kind of hard because there's, in this room, there's 6 people that have done it too, right? And I see them all the time. They still get them, but there's less and less available for that. But we send out like an email blast with open house availability for people who reach out to us. So before we leave, holler at me and I'll get your email and then we can add you to like that blast. Like, hey, we have a new listing, we have an open house. We try to get our team to help hold them, but it doesn't always happen. A lot of the time what happens right now is like our clients are like, I don't want an open house. And then all of a sudden they're like, oh, I want an open house. And then everybody has already made plans for that day. So they're like, I can't do it now. But yeah, holler at me about it.
Okay.
What else, guys? What else are we struggling with right now in this market? We kind of, before y'all walked in, we briefly were like the obvious one, right? Writing offers and not winning them. What are we doing to win offers? What are we doing to write those offers and win them? Besides just having cash.
The main thing that I've seen, at least from the other perspective side of, I've done more listings, more than buyers recently. And I
He's
don't-
so lucky.
No, I'm not, I'm just,
No, I'm kidding.
I'm not trying to say I've done a lot, let's be honest. Just a couple I've done. And the one people took a lesser amount because their offer was cleaner.
Yes.
What made it cleaner to them?
No inspections, conventional loan. it didn't go over, like they didn't have a bunch of money that was
Insane overpriced.
insane overpriced. I think they had like $2,000 above.
Yeah.
They wrote a letter with it.
Mhm.
And it was just clean.
Yeah.
It was just a clean offer. The other one wasn't bad, but there was just too many small little,
The details of the offer were too outside
the spectrum, yes.
So that's the same thing I'm finding is that as a listing agent, when I get an offer that it has all the blanks filled in on the contract, I'm like, score 1 point over here.
Yeah.
If there's blanks that are left blank, or if it's sporadically filled in, I'm like, they're just writing an offer to write an offer and they're gonna throw it all up there and see what sticks. And that does not set well with me. Escalation clauses, I don't do them. I will tell, I'm like, why wouldn't they just write their highest and best to begin with? Don't die. Why are we doing an escalation clause? Just go to that price point if that's what you're willing to go to. Is it?
Yeah, I mean, that's how ours, how my people chose it. And I really I don't necessarily look at those things, like filling the spaces, I don't mind, like.
I get your point though, because it does show the fact that someone was thorough.
Yes.
They're thorough and there's nothing left to interpret.
Question or chance or
Yeah.
interpretation.
And for me, also, we took a VA loan over a conventional loan because it was just a better offer. Just the details of the offer were better.
And that's what I mean, that this particular was conventional or other ones, but
Yeah.
as long as they're really right on, I prefer those offers because I know exactly what we're getting into. I know what to expect. If it's a VA, I know that, you just know those details where
Yeah.
you're right. If it's left open-ended, you're like, I mean, yeah, this is $10,000 higher, but look at all the other crap that comes along with it. Is it really gonna be worth it, or am I gonna have to put this back on the market?
Right, am I gonna be on crazy train?
Exactly, and that's, I don't want.
I don't wanna be on crazy train.
Part of it too is like, if I get multiple offers on the listing side, one of the things I look for is, I mean, I do look at I know that this is challenging for you, but I look at the license number. Who
Absolutely.
am I dealing with? Am I
I
dealing
never
with,
thought about that.
am I dealing with someone who has a license number that starts with 2022?
Or
21, 2020, 2019 even. You know?
there's even some that are like early 2000s that you have to consider.
Yeah, no, those are the ones that start with 1999. I'm like, no, you need to go
Stuck in
away.
their way.
I know, retire. It's time.
So I've never.
I know. When you said that you've only had
22 years shelf
Part
life.
of it too is if you have a mentor, like if you're an individual agent, that's fine, or you in a coaching firm. I mean, I call the buyer's agent and I'm like, tell me a little bit about yourself, because I gotta sell you just as much as because you have to work, I have to work with you, so you have to know to work with me. And I'm pretty easy to get along with, but if I need to know up front if I have to do a ton of legwork to get it through, because my fall through rate is very low and I want to keep it that way.
How do you write your contract? So do you sign your contract like for you, as you, or is it like Robbins, Lions, and then you sign it?
Perfect.
See, that's good. That's what you want.
I originally wanted to be independent, but I just got out of testing and I really didn't know what to do.
So
You
if
know,
you're,
they don't
so with them being brand new, this is
coach
what
you
I
in
would do.
that, really.
Yeah, this is what I would do because one, it helps you, but it doesn't hurt anybody by any means. Helps your client for sure, is write it as your name, like in your signature block is your name for whoever's holding the license, right? So it'd probably be,
They set my signature up
Like,
that
sure.
way,
Yeah,
I believe
exactly.
Stacy did.
so then you can also do it to where somebody else is the agent, technically, right? You're still getting paid, no big deal on that, but it's a name that they're familiar with
I'm
too,
familiar with.
right?
Mhm.
If I said, if I said, if I was writing a contract right now, Luis would, like I said, it was on our team. Luis is brand new as well. If somebody receives an offer that says signature Luis Ocampo, I don't know this guy.
Yeah.
But if it says Luis Ocampo for Josh Keats, they might know me, right?
Mhm.
I've been around a lot longer than he has, where they might go, oh, I know that name. I've done deals with their team before. It's went well, right? And it's very helpful. So talk to them about that to where when you are writing offers, it'll definitely be helpful. Because I got the same thing like Lisa's saying. I got plenty of the phone calls that are like, hey, I don't really like your offer. It came in low back then in 2018,
Mhm.
where we were able to go under asking, and say, oh, it looks like you're just kind of throwing stuff at a wall. You're a brand new agent. I'm like, this is what I came up with and my clients came up with. Here we go. So it's always going to be that way.
But if you're able to piggyback off of your team, right, it'll make things a lot easier, a lot more
The
successful.
other thing too is like, if I call you and you don't understand the language of real estate,
Oh, big time, yeah.
you know, I don't care if your license number is 2022, it could be 2022, but if you're talking to me like you know exactly what you're talking about, that goes a long way.
Yeah.
Because there are people that have been investors for years,
Oh, yeah.
and they know all kinds of things about real estate, and they, you know, they come from a real estate family, or they may have been an admin or a TC, and then they get their real estate license and they branch into real estate. Well, they're gonna be fully knowledgeable. So just because it's an early, you know, a new license number, doesn't mean it's the end of the world, but it does mean that you need to be very well versed in what you're talking about.
For sure.
So.
And something else too that I've noticed as we've been talking that I really enjoyed with the couple people who I've taken their offers from is the little bit more time that they've given me to kind of tell them about their clients, or that little extra, how are you doing today? Just the little extra
So many
that
were like-
other agents have done that I'm like, okay, like
So show up with a croissant and coffee.
1,000%, yes, I will. Your offer is accepted.
20,000.
But you know what I mean? Just that little extra step goes, at least for me, goes a long way.
There's a lot of, in this market especially, there's a lot of, here, I'm doing you a favor, here's my offer, I'm not gonna talk to you, I don't care, like, you got another one, I'm not, right? If you do your part to make that connection for your client, right? I don't do love letters. We don't necessarily even like encourage or allow them. None of our listings allow them, but like, if I can just have a conversation, right? If I was sending anybody this room an offer, first of all, I let them know I'm showing the house. I say, hey, they love the house. I text them after I'm done. Love the house. Let's shoot you an offer here shortly. Got to get back. Got to feed the baby. I always give myself a little bit of time, right? Got to feed the baby. Got to do this. I'm going to write this offer up. And then I'm going to let them know, hey, offer's on its way. It's in your inbox.
Yeah.
Right. The number one thing that I'm getting so aggravated with buyers agents right now on is they're just sending offers and no one knows, because they're so aggravated because they've sent 50 offers for these people that none of them have won. So they just get really annoyed and they're just sending them, and they don't tell anybody, they don't communicate. They're not giving you that personal touch at all because the market's discouraging and they're letting those emotions show. I think it's still a people game and we're missing that big time a lot.
So here's something I do. And when I send an offer, I do the same thing. Hey, I'm gonna send you an offer, but it's gonna be a minute. I give myself time.
Make something up.
Yeah, usually it's because I'm at a ball game, which is
Yeah.
not a lie, but
Yeah.
you know, whatever. And then I say, please find our offer for blah, blah, blah attached. The details are as follows. And I have offer price in black bold, and then I put the price. So offer price, seller concessions, earnest money, title company, closing date, appraisal contingency, appraisal gap, coverage, if there is any, and if there's not, I put none. Inspections, property data review period, special agreement. So all this is already in the contract. I literally copy and paste.
Mhm.
And then I put financing, home warranty, because we're not doing home warranties right now, but I don't want them to have to go to page 6 or whatever page it's on to find the home warranty. Seller title fees, buyers, at buyer's cost, and I put buyers in bold in all caps, lender, and I put the lender on there. And then if it's somebody who knows my transaction coordinator or uses the same transaction coordinator, I put that in there with their name so that they know, and then I attach it all. So really all they have to, it's all right there. They can print that off,
They just verify that you didn't.
that I didn't lie. They should verify.
Oh, of course.
They should. I don't, that's on them if they don't.
Yeah, you're exactly right.
But, and literally I just copy and paste it, and then from the previous offer I've sent, I go and change everything. And I haven't had anybody complain about it. I haven't had any positive feedback, but it's simple. It's right there. They can see it. Like I have a listing right now. I have an offer in my inbox. Another agent said, well, how many, is your offer a strong offer? And I was like, I'm gonna be honest with you. I haven't even looked at it.
Yeah.
And because yesterday was a crazy day, I said, but when I do, I'll let you know. And I opened it up and there was nothing. Here's our offer.
Yep.
And I was like, ah.
Well, especially when you have multiple offers, it's
Yeah.
very helpful. And I have found that not very many people are doing it. So I've been doing exactly that, because if I know if they've told me we have 8 offers and I'm the only person who line itemed out, at least they know what my offer is, even if they haven't had time to look at everybody
Right.
else's.
There's a lot that you can go through. One of the things I've been doing as well to try and sweeten the pot for the listing side when I'm on the buy side. So I call the listing agent and I just say, what are some of the terms and conditions that your client has talked to you about? Like, it's a good house, it's only been built for 2 years or whatever.
They need
You know,
lease back, do they need
yeah,
title company?
Do they need,
Yeah.
we offer, if my seller or if my buyer can allow it, I'm like, all right, what about a rent back? You know, the lease back option, you know, how many days do they need? What is your preferred title company? As the seller's side, I ask them, like, what is your preferred title company? Who is your preferred closer? You know, this is our lender. Have you had, and I even say, like, I'm gonna have the lender call you, and I have my lender call the listing agent so they can verify this is a strong contender. So her financing is good. We have no issues because the lender that I've been using, we go through a lot of the things with the client now before we make the offer to make sure that when we do have an offer to make, that people aren't worried about financing.
Yeah.
So you said something that I'm just curious about. Why don't you accept or like love letters?
Or housing.
That's it.
Muddies the water.
But
Just
well,
and it's not that we've had an issue,
so if you
it's not
have,
that I foresee an issue,
oh,
but why would I open the door?
it's a
potentially
fair
allow.
housing problem. I think there's a legality issue surrounding it. It should have never been allowed in the first place.
There's-
I mean, don't
there's
get me
a
wrong,
very-
I've submitted some,
For sure.
but I never accept them because if someone's last name is Gonzalez and then they find out later through the tax records that the person that bought it is Smith, you know, there could be an automatic assumption there. And so you're opening the door for liability on behalf of your sellers.
Mhm.
And I think it actually is protecting
Yeah.
your seller to not accept them.
So it doesn't have anything to do with like getting the offer, it's fair housing.
It's nothing to do with like, I think it's a fine idea.
Right.
I usually will have a little bit of a conversation with an agent, right? And
Kind of drop some of those things.
no, I mean, like, yeah, they love
Yeah.
the house, their kids are gonna, they picked out the bedrooms, whatever, right? Like, that's what a love letter is a lot of the time.
Right.
Not to mention, let's be really honest, if you're sending love letters, that's fine. Don't just have a blanket one that you just send to me on every listing that I have.
No.
Is somebody doing that?
Yeah, I received this is good, this is really good. This is a really quick story. I received the exact same love letter with 2 different addresses on it.
It's not a Keller agent, is it?
Oh, gosh.
It was yeah.
It
fun.
wasn't me.
It's not me. I don't do love letters.
Anyways, but yeah.
No, thank you. I was just genuinely curious if you thought that was.
She's exactly right, because a lot of the point of the love letter, right, you're telling details about your family, right, or about the people who fall in love with
Oh
it.
my God, or if they put pictures, don't do
Yeah, right, like
I
it
don't
is,
allow that.
it is 100% opening up the seller. And again, we're going down like, this could be a deep rabbit hole that somebody's just mad, right? That they're like, oh, they didn't choose me because of this. I'm like,
But it's happened.
No, but it's, I mean,
for
I've
sure.
had clients that said, well,
Sure.
it's gotta be the right person to buy this house.
Mhm.
And you
Yeah,
just
we're-
know that the undercurrent of it is racist.
Yeah, there's some
I'm
lines
gonna say
there,
that you're a
right?
racist, but you
But it's
better, yeah.
But you are. you know?
You're 100% correct.
Okay.
So
Thank you.
there's one thing that no one mentioned, you almost did, on the winning offers, you said as is, right? No inspections?
Sure.
We're winning a lot of offers right now with inspections. One item must be X dollars or more.
So
Yeah,
and
I've
it's
been
one-
doing a ton of
And it's
that.
one item, it's not one category,
Mhm.
right? Because that can get really broad when somebody's like, oh, well, that one window's broken, so I'm gonna ask for the entire house to have new windows in it. Now we're
New
over $2,000.
siding, new, like.
No, I just wrote an offer and got it accepted. I mean, for multiple reasons accepted, but I did say buyers will. So when you really look at a house, you look at at inspection repairs, they're generally 1% of the list price. Now, we're in an inflated market, so, and I don't think that it'll ever come down. I don't think it'll ever put pre-COVID prices again. So you kind of got to take that with a grain of salt. So I wrote, buyers will assume the first $1,000 of repairs.
Anything after that is on the.
And anything after that is the seller. So.
I've never done one that way and I've never seen it. I like that though.
But so for example, if you have fungal growth in the crawl space, it's a minimum of $1,200.
Mhm.
Who's doing your phone growth?
Buzz pest control.
I wouldn't have
Yeah,
them
they're
do,
going to mine today.
I wouldn't have them do mold remediation on my personal home, but I would have them.
So you're saying buyer will take it as we'll have inspection.
We're gonna have inspection, buyer's gonna basically take, if there's repairs,
Yeah, yeah.
they're gonna take the first
I'm
$1,000.
not gonna nitpick anything. Yeah.
Right.
Interesting. I like that.
We
And
do
it's-
it a little
You can
differently.
do something
What was the
like
way,
that.
what was the way you worded it?
So we basically say one item must be X dollars or more for it to be included on the inspection notice. So it's only the major line item.
Okay,
And
okay.
usually that X dollar is $1,000 or $2,000. We just wrote one and won it, and it was $2,500. So that says to you right there that it has to be a serious plumbing issue.
Right.
Hot
HVAC.
water heater completely just like literally shot. No repair, nothing. HVAC, roof, and then like, yeah, structural or like electrical, like
You said $2,500?
that was the biggest one we've ever done.
What was the offer price?
On the higher, it was like it was like close to 4 or something like
Okay,
that.
so on the higher end,
Yeah, but I mean, usually that number's like $1,000.
Yeah.
1,000, 1,500, something like that. And then we've done it to where it says like category or one repair or replacement is this amount, because that could be, you've got multiple leaks in plumbing, right? Each individual leak only costs $200 to fix, but there's 4 of them. So now you're at $800. Well, that goes over your $500 that you said you weren't gonna ask for. So you can word it however you want. We generally do one item, just so it's very clear. And it's also very clear to your buyer what that means. Because you don't want your buyer coming back and going, well, there's 3 cracked, we had this happen actually, there's 3 cracked windows, so that counts as, $800 because they're all cracked. No, it's each window costs that amount, is how we explain it to them.
And here's the other thing too, if you use a Kosha home warranty, it's a $750 home warranty.
Mhm.
So at the $1,000, when you're at that $1,000 break point, you've got to think, well, okay, so should we just, it's gonna be cheaper for for example, I had a home inspection today, air conditioner didn't kick on. Probably just needs a service, right? An $85 service call, probably nothing huge. So I'm gonna call the HVAC guy, he's gonna go out, because we're still within our inspection period, have a look at it. But if it's a full replacement, guess what? We're gonna ask for a full replacement.
Yep.
But if it's just something that, hey, it's probably got 3 years of life left, okay, well, what's the cheapest route? The cheapest route is to take out a $750 home warranty that will cover it, as long as they continue to pay for the home warranty on a year.
I did see one where it said, they went as is, but they wanted a 2-year warranty.
Yeah.
I was like, that's kind of smart. That's
Yeah.
different.
smart.
And it cost, whatever, like $1,200 at that
Yeah.
point, because you get a discount or something.
Yeah.
So like, that's interesting.
That's a great way to get around, because I would never ask a client to buy a house as is. I can present the options, here are your options.
I have received offers that had inspections twice this year, like on just personally, where they ended up not asking for any repairs.
Yeah, I've had that too.
Yeah.
That's,
Yeah, I had that.
Had one buyer say, yeah, I'm good. I'm like, I see this, this, and this. Like, I just want my due diligence to be done. Like, I'm telling you, as your fiduciary, this, and this needs to be repaired. Like, nah, it's good. Like, all right, cool. We have that in writing. I'm good. But,
I just had one, close one in Marshall like that. He's like, oh, I can fix that.
okay.
I think part of it too is just setting the expectation up with the buyers on the front end in the buyer's consultation too. Like in my buyer's consultation, like these are the things that I've experienced this year that have been getting, if you want, and something I had to explain, I had a buyer that was not, I was like, you're not a real buyer, and I was upfront with her about it. I don't mind being like that blunt about it, but it's like at this point in time, you're looking for a deal and that means you can't buy a house. You can either get the deal or a house, you can't do that in this market. You're gonna
We've
get
been
the
offering
house.
over asking on off-market properties.
Right, to get them to not list.
Hey, we're gonna list at 250. I'll give you 265.
Right.
Right? So you're not getting a deal. Your deal is you got the offer.
Right. You have to compete with
What are your all's thoughts on, especially you two and you, most of the people who have had experience with listings?
Oh.
Having,
I was in trouble.
no,
I
no,
know, I was like, should I run?
having your seller have a home inspection prior to listing, like the week of listing, and publishing that home inspection so that now you know what's wrong with it and you.
I was in a mastermind
So-
about that today, or not about that, but that was something that I had a mastermind about in a group that I'm in. And there's a lot of people in like California, that's like an expectation.
It is, it's Seattle, my sister-in-law in Seattle,
It's an
the
expectation.
sellers have a seller's inspection prior to listing and then it's out
You
there.
don't think that it's okay in this market, and if you're like, I don't need to do it, get prepared, because it will become it will become something that we're doing at every listing.
I think it would be more appealing to the buyer.
Oh, for sure.
My only thing that I'll say that bit when I was on Carrie's team, we did that for one house and it bit us in the ass because they still got an inspection and so my people got the inspection, they fixed those things. And then they got another inspection by someone completely different because the buyers wanted to choose someone else. And it was a whole new list of.
So I wouldn't fix anything. Here's what I would do. Mr. Seller, at least you're my seller. Here's what we're gonna do, because the market's so crazy and it's gonna have multiple offers and we just wanna take a segment of those offers out. So let's go ahead and have an inspection. It's gonna cost you about $350, okay? If you're okay with it, I'm gonna call my inspector and and I'm gonna get it set up on Tuesday. Are you okay with that? Sure, great. Okay, so we're gonna list the house as is and publish the inspection.
I think listing it, if like, we know that we're listing it as is, we're like, hey, we're not trying to hide anything, that if a major issue came up, then my seller's gonna take care of it. Or
We
my
don't-
seller's gonna understand that we're not gonna get multiple offers because you have your foundation's crumbling or
We've done it
whatever.
before where it's not a pre-list, but it's back on market.
Uh-huh.
And now you're in multiples,
Right.
right? So I write in as is inspection,
Uh-huh.
but special agreements write in my repairs that I want. And now I have no inspection period, but as terms of our contract, these inspection items are gonna get repaired. And it's worked out great as a buyer. So as a listing, right, that's how if I did it as a listing agent, right, pre-doing inspection, some of my clients just want to do it because they're old school and they're like, hey, I want to make sure I'm providing a quality product, and good for you. I wouldn't take an offer with an inspection term unless it was like, hey, I want specialist, or hey, we see that there's an issue with the HVAC, we actually want to get a specialist out there. Okay, fine, whatever. But I want you to pre-negotiate in special agreements all of your repair items.
Okay, after looking at the inspection report that you provided.
It's already there. It's
Yeah,
on the
okay,
documents.
Okay.
Right? And we had one that multiple offers, they said, we're still gonna get our own inspection. Like, man, you just lost out, right? The other people already told us what they want. And they came in like $5,000 less. But we know what this is. We don't know what that
And
is.
it's clear cut.
My clients aren't getting
Yeah.
more money than they ever expected to get for their house.
Right.
They're not gonna pinch pennies over that extra potential $4,000, $5,000.
Yeah.
So.
I think I'm gonna
don't
try
dis-
it.
I don't dislike it at all. I wouldn't do any repairs like you said. And I wouldn't allow any inspection. I wouldn't sell it as is. But I wouldn't allow an inspection period. I would make them write in special agreements or
Yeah.
an addendum or whatever.
And here's the other thing. So I'm still mulling it around. I'm probably gonna try it. I'm probably going to, because our inspectors right now, a lot of our inspectors are hurting because everybody's buying as is.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't think that that's necessarily fair to our inspectors.
But
But,
the home warranties.
right, so I think I'm gonna try it. And I think what I would do is, I'm gonna write in the agent remarks that this is to be sold as is. If buyer wants to negotiate repairs off of provided home inspection that was completed on blah, blah, blah date, because once it's past 30 days, it's really not in my opinion, a valuable home inspection. Then it needs to come off the inspection report that's listed in the documents. I think I'm gonna try it and see what happens.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I don't think you have to go as is when it comes to that. I think you just make them pre-negotiate, right? It's part of the contract terms, not a part of an instruction or inspection terms.
If you listed it with that inspection and it didn't sell for several months, how long does that inspection last before they,
Like 30, I would have a new one after 30 days.
okay.
I just think that there's too many things, like, especially like this spring,
Missouri.
we had so much flooding at the end of April, beginning of May, and if you had that inspection at the end of March, beginning of April,
Would be more damage.
there could be more damage.
I think my tactic on that too, right? And this conversation is, like I mentioned earlier, is like at a time where we're foreseeing some changes in our market and forecasting it. So look at that, right? You do the inspection and it doesn't sell, right? You didn't make any repairs initially.
But
Now,
they can't.
now go make some repairs.
Mhm.
Maybe do a price reduction, leave the price the same, but now pull it off the market when the repairs are done, pull it back on a week later with, hey, repairs have been done, here's a new price, here's new photos.
Upload the invoices from the repairs.
Documents are no longer the inspection report, it is now the invoices, or both, right? Already made these repairs. And it works out well.
Okay, this is a specific situation in regard to both inspection and appraisal. So I have a buy-sell. So we now know their inspection came in, it was pretty darn good. The buyer only asked for 3 small things, $230 in repair price. And then they appraised. So they're all good on their sale, the house they're selling. The house they're buying also had very minimal things on the inspection. They just had a couple of things they were gonna ask for, like 3 or 4 things, but then potential fungal growth in the crawl space. So we have several different companies going out to give us their opinions and their prices. Hey.
Real quick, I don't want to interrupt you. Did they say keep it or get rid of it?
Yeah, I'm perming it.
Perming it?
I am perming it today in
10 minutes.
8 minutes, yeah.
Bet.
So as we are waiting to get these companies to come in and give us their opinion, I get the appraisal back today and it came in 4,000 under. So I'm trying to decide the best way to handle all of it as far as the timing goes, because we have to give our notice by Saturday.
So our buy sells, we never respond to a buy until we know what the sell looks like.
Mhm.
So we
Well,
never,
that's all, the sell's all,
that's why we never respond to them.
right,
We
Oh, sell.
we never handcuff ourselves until we know we're clean on both sides. So because of that timeline, we've written in 20-day inspection periods, and we've also written in 20-day response periods. And basically for that purpose of going, I don't want my people to end up being homeless because their house had no repairs, it appraised right, they made so much money. Well, the house that they thought they were gonna buy, it turned into a trash pit underneath it, and it's gonna cost 10 grand to repair it, right? So I make sure before we ever agree to one, that we've agreed even verbally to both of them, if that makes sense.
Is this the right height?
No, the chairs in your office are the right height,
The tall ones?
and I need a table to put stuff on.
Okay.
So we know that the crawl space is gonna cost about 1,300, and I would say the other repairs are gonna be like literally no more than $500. So we're probably looking at 1,800 in repairs and then 4,000 potentially having to come off. My big question is, do you think it's worth it to try to gather comps? They're very difficult, which I think is why it's out in fair play.
$4 grand is not enough to really adjust it, I don't think,
Here's what I would do.
unless it's clear.
I would say my buyer's gonna buy it as is and take care of the repairs themselves, which equal about 2 grand, and we're gonna lower the price by 4,000. Because at that point, you're assuming that you're cutting the short appraisal in half. We're gonna, that's exactly what I do and say,
That's what I had considered.
that's exactly.
Your clients won't love it, but they also will
Well, they-
understand right now that they don't. really
They also
necessarily-
won't love it because they don't have a lot of actual money, and most of their money is coming from the proceeds of their house, but I do think they have enough to
Are
cover
they
that.
rolling everything into their purchase of their new house? For the down, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean,
But I think they'll actually have roundabout.
Yeah.
that
if you also
much.
have to think too, when you're talking about fungal growth and another repair that are 2 grand, none of those are serious enough that they can't go live in that house for a few months,
Right.
6 months, a year, to save up the money or to do a little bit of the work themselves or whatever that may be. Getting the crawl space treated, like, as long as you make sure that you're taking care of it at that point, as long as nothing crazy happens, like there's just standing water underneath it for the next year, it's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
And nothing's gonna, like, if you said, oh yeah, we have $6,000 in, mold and fungal and deterioration, it's like, well, that's a different conversation. But in that situation, I agree with her. I would say, you know what, we'll take care of this, whether it's tomorrow or 10 months from now, that's okay. Just come off the price, we'll go. I would do the same thing. I don't know, I may, yeah, if I thought that the seller was a little bit hungry for a sale too, or the agent was giving you that inkling, I might ask for like a warranty or for a credit or for something small, just to see if I can get a little bit of a win for my client. Hey, can you pay for 500 in concessions or something like that? But I mean,
And that,
it's gonna be hard.
Well, and so this particular house was on the market for close to a week before we came in at full ask. And I mean, they had
so
no,
long.
I know. I mean, they had no other options but us.
So, I mean, you very well could get away with something.
They also don't have a house they're trying to purchase on the other side. So that's my only fear is that they may say, oh, well, we're not in a hurry.
Yeah, I mean,
But you could just go back to them and say, look, that's fine. You can put it back on the market, but now you need to disclose that A, you have this stuff
All
going
this
on,
stuff,
and B,
exactly.
is it a conventional well? Yes. And,
you already know that it's
Official.
already appraised.
It's not FHA,
It's not
unfortunately.
gonna appraise any higher on fair play.
right.
So if it's okay, I have a question that I'm gonna kind of change or the direction of this real quick before. So what are you guys doing that people who are wanting to sell their house but can't find anything? And you try to do the whole, we can put on the market, do reverse contingency. Are you guys having any success with anything that I don't know about or any good ideas?
So, no.
I just did one, but we got lucky enough that we also found a house that weekend. So
Okay.
So I have one on the market right now that is breaking my phone, makes me let's throw it across the room with showing, right? And I finally convinced them to put it on the market $25,000 higher because I thought it would sit. Thought it would slow it down.
25 grand, they can go find somewhere to live for a little while.
And the reason is we were writing offers contingent upon their house selling. So we hadn't, it was like, everything was done. It was ready to go on the market. If they said, yes, we're gonna accept your offer. And we were gonna list it $25,000 lower if they had said yes, causing it to sell quicker, right? So the contingency would be waived. And he finally just said, I'm done doing this. Let's just put it on the market at $25,000 higher.
We've been doing, so instead of doing the like contingency or like trying to play the price strategy, because you can't, to her point, you can't do that in this market.
Well, and here's the thing though, it had comped out even higher, but it would have been the highest one in the subdivision. And so when I'm looking at it, I'm like, it's not that, that's not the right price.
We've been looking.
They're gonna go lower. Okay, I'm just, I'm sorry for asking. I'm just thinking about everything. Right? Oh, I don't, you look like you're gonna kill me.
I don't.
Forget your appraisal.
But I'm just afraid, like thinking, they're gonna get $25,000, they have that in their mind. That, so I'm just sorry.
We've been, I mean, on those, if we know it's a good listing, so this conversation is different if you know it's gonna be a hot listing or not, right? So
Yeah.
assuming it's a hot listing, right? 250 Springfield, Nixos, our Republic, right?
Yep.
Just make it a part of your contract, but it's gonna be either rent back or possession after closing.
Ooh, okay.
Just saying, like, if you
That's
want
good.
this house, which I know you want this house, and I know at least one of the 10 of you are probably gonna be open to this idea.
Yeah.
Right? And doing just that, or finding them secondary housing that they can live in for a month because they're making 25 grand extra. They might be okay with spending 10 grand on a short-term rental, right? Even if it's an Airbnb or something else that they find, or furnished finders or whatever it might be.
And like with these people, I know where they want to be. I know what business they want to be in. And so I'm pulling and skip tracing and I'm making calls and sending letters and Spokane High School District. On 35 acres, minimum 1,500, 322. What you got? I've already, I can talk to you about this. I've talked to you about this. I've been pulling expires and everything.
Oh yeah, that was that one. I do
Yeah, I'm
remember
looking
that. Oh
at
yeah,
that.
that's when you texted.
And I'll text you about the one that I'm trying to figure out too.
You guys need to realize, like, I'm not the person to talk to about this now.
I know, then you would put everyone else.
People are always like that.
Yeah, always.
Always. I mean, you can't get away with
And he
that.
doesn't respond to texts.
On that sometimes.
So I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to say. Because I'm marketing, I'm searching for a house for them that's off market.
Yeah.
As well as watching what's coming on the market. And I'm talking to as many agents as I can.
That's what I was going to say. So this means
Overall, what?
I just have a couple questions for you.
I've got a client right now that's looking for a house in Republic.
How big of a house is this person trying to sell? I'll have a
Which,
furnished rental coming.
oh, really?
June 1st. It's only 2 bedrooms, so if it's a family.
Yeah, it's a family with, it's 2 kids.
Stick them in one room.
What?
Kids, they older.
They're teens. Yeah.
Bunk beds, for sure, best friends.
And
Yeah.
it's probably a boy and girl, so that's not gonna work.
It's two boys. So much room for a kid, but it's gonna be Sugar Ridge.
Paulina has one coming up 360.
No, this is when they're gonna have Sugar Ridge. They're looking for land, and then I have other people that want to sell that looking for Highland Springs.
So what I've done this morning, and I'm getting ready to go do this afternoon, as soon as we're done here, I'm gonna just go door knock agents. Right. First thing I did this morning is I text Kelsey Waters, I sent out, I don't know, that's why I knew about Paulina's. I sent out text to people, I sent out to other brokerages that I know that do a lot of business in that area. The builders, asking where they're at on completion and pricing in different areas, or if they know of any of their buyers that are selling or anything of that nature too.
I have a scrap house coming up. by the way.
Agent
It's not
relationships.
all-
Agent relationships are huge.
Yeah.
I think that's a part that people miss a lot. I've done plenty of business in this office or the old office really by walking the halls, going to the tech room and saying, hey, I have this listing coming up, who wants it? Or I have this buyer who has the listing that I need. A lot of business has been done like that, yes.
I've got a listing coming up, not this Friday, but next Friday in Wellington Hills off of Weaver.
Yep.
So
What you got coming up over there?
That's right.
I know.
the 4-3, 2,900 square feet, 2-car garage. And we're getting the inspection done. We're getting a 4-point inspection done next week.
What kind of roof does it have on it?
Slate.
So, but not wood shingle.
No, clay slate.
No, which.
What street is on?
But he did say he had a roofing company come out yesterday or today, and they said that there's no major issues, but you know, it does need some work, but we're gonna price it like 314, which is, you know, about mid, a little bit lower for that subdivision. And as we were talking about before, you wouldn't say put as is, but here's the like, and don't necessarily put the inspection report on the documents or do that.
I would put the,
Legally, you need to.
Yeah, you need
Once
to.
you know that.
Okay.
You don't have to disclose- Here's the deal. You either have to disclose everything.
Yeah.
That's material defect.
Yeah.
On the disclosures or provide it.
Yeah, so just
So-
fill out the disclosures and then say, you know,
see
see
attachment.
inspection attached.
I would
Not
have.
sell it as is, but just, you say this, you know, the agent remarks, you know, or is it just kind of assumed, like, these are the inspections, like, you know, from a buyer's perspective, we need to be competitive on this.
So I would, I mean, the way that I'm gonna do it is that I put it in the agent remarks. You know, or if an agent talks to me or whatever, I'll just tell them, but just say, you know, add repairs, requested repairs into special agreements in lieu of inspection period.
Unless it's FHA.
Okay, yeah, well.
Does it have a basement?
It's a split level, so it's like 1.5 stories.
How many living space?
I'm probably gonna cut the pleasures.
I don't have a buyer.
I did too. I'm so confused when you text me earlier.
Wanted to buy my old house.
Then I was like, looked at it for a second.
You posted it yesterday, like, hey, are you gonna sell your house? It's like, hey, it's like,
And as far as like time of the week wise, when you guys list,
do it
'cause
Friday.
in the past I've listed like Thursday or like I've done no showings. It's listed Friday, but no showings till Saturday.
Your open house.
Yeah, I was gonna maybe do an open house Saturday, no showings until open house on Saturday.
Yeah.
Oh, we can't do that?
Don't do that anymore. So
What is that?
that's your workaround, just put.
Okay, Friday, 12-hour notice till showings and then do an open house. Okay.
When did that change?
I don't know, we got fined for it, so
Really?
we get fined for everything.
So listed Friday, 12-hour notice needed before showings and then do the open house.
Text listing agent 12 hours notice for sure.
Yeah.
Seller has to, make some up. Who
It
cares?
doesn't really matter at that
Okay.
point. Yeah.
Set up, call for appointment or text for appointment, 12-hour notice. We did actually, mine was on the market, available for showings. Plan was, and then my client decided to finish touch-up paint. He's like, man, these baseboards are really driving me crazy. I'm gonna do touch-up paint. It's like, cool, no worries, go ahead. So I said, will you be done by 2 o'clock for my open house? He said, 100%, I will be done. I'll be out of there. You're good. Had a couple agents call. can I do a showing? So sorry, client said he wants to do touch-up paint. You know, he's not available right now for showings. He's literally painting the baseboards. And I get a fine notice from the MLS saying, you're not actually available for showings.
Was it stated on there, on the MLS?
I had to put it on the MLS as soon as he told me, yeah. No showings till Saturday at 2 during open house. The showings to begin 2 o'clock Saturday, however we worded it, yeah. Once he told me that, we updated it, put it on.
And then you got the fine after it was on the MLS.
Supposed to be coming soon, blah, blah, blah. So instead, 24-hour notice for showing.
And then there just happens to be an open house.
At 25 hours.
Yeah.
And then as soon as that open house is, you know, an hour from then, you just take that 24 hours from showing up.
Yeah, just take it off.
Yeah.
Seller doesn't need it.
So dumb.
So excited just to leave town. Guys, if you need anything, holler at me.
Awesome.
Good job.
Thank you.
When do you do this? Every 2 weeks?
No, it's supposed to be monthly, but depending on training schedule, so they have Ignite, regional Ignite coming, so I'm not really sure what that's gonna look like for June.
Okay.
We make, yeah, for June,
How long is regional night?
like 16 classes.
I thought it started, did it start this past Monday?
I'm not really sure what their plan is. I know there's a bunch of other stuff.
Wait a minute.
So, we don't have it scheduled yet, I know that.
Okay, cool.
Yep.
Thanks.
See you guys. Make good choices. Let's see. Maybe Nicole, how do I stop this? Stop recording.